Have you ever seen love that doesn't need to speak, yet says everything? Let me take you to a small, quiet house on the edge of a sleepy town. The curtains are faded, the floor creaks, and the mornings smell like roasted coffee and wild honey. Every single day, for 55 years, an old man wakes up before the sun. He moves slowly now, his hands tremble, his knees ache, but oh, his heart still remembers. He walks into the kitchen, opens a small jar of honey, and smiles. It's her favorite, his wife, the woman who once danced barefoot in the kitchen with him when they were young, who laughed louder than music, who held his hand through every storm. She's still there, but now she forgets things. Sometimes she forgets his name. Sometimes she asks where her mother is, even though her mother's been gone for 40 years. Yet, every morning, this man makes her coffee, with a spoonful of honey, and whispers, "Good morning, beautiful." He knows she might not remember him, but he remembers her, and that is enough. Let's be honest. Love isn't always easy. It's not always fireworks, laughter, and sunsets. Sometimes love is sitting in silence beside someone who doesn't even know who you are anymore. Sometimes it's holding the same hand you held at 20, but now it's cold, fragile, shaking. Sometimes it's looking into eyes that once knew every corner of your soul, and realizing those eyes no longer recognize you. You see, this old man, his name's Arthur, he wasn't always this calm. There were nights when he cried quietly in the bathroom so his wife Rose wouldn't see his tears. There were mornings when he'd beg God for just one more day where she'd look at him and say his name. One more day where she'd remember their children, their home, their life. And there were days he thought about giving up. Because the pain of watching someone you love slowly fade while you stay behind, that's a kind of heartbreak no one prepares you for. We all know that kind of pain in some form, don't we? Maybe it's not dementia, maybe it's betrayal, maybe it's loneliness, maybe it's waking up beside someone who's still there physically, but emotionally, they're gone. That's the quiet kind of grief, the one nobody talks about. And yet, in that tiny kitchen with his shaking hands and his coffee and honey, Arthur kept showing up. And I want to say this to you, whoever you are, wherever you're sitting right now, you are not weak for feeling broken. You're not foolish for holding on to love that hurts. You're not crazy for missing someone who may not even remember your name. You're not hopeless for still believing in something beautiful after life has disappointed you. Pain doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've cared. You've poured your heart into something that mattered, and even if it didn't end the way you dreamed, it still made you who you are. Arthur once said, "Love isn't what you say when things are perfect. It's what you keep doing when everything falls apart." So if your heart has cracks, it's okay if your mornings feel empty, your nights too quiet. It's okay. You are human. You are capable of deep love. And deep love always comes with deep pain. But pain is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your becoming. One morning, Arthur was making his usual coffee and honey mix. He was tired, the kind of tired that sits inside your bones. Rose was in her chair, staring out the window. She didn't say a word. He placed the mug beside her and whispered, "It's your favorite, sweetheart. Coffee with honey, just like you like it." She blinked, and for the briefest moment her eyes softened. She smiled, faintly but genuinely, and said, "You always remember." That one sentence changed him. He realized something powerful. It wasn't about whether she remembered him. It was about him remembering love. He understood that love doesn't need recognition to be real. It just needs consistency. That morning became his turning point. He stopped focusing on what was fading and started cherishing what remained, the warmth of her hand, the light in her eyes, even for a second, the taste of coffee, the sweetness of honey, the gift of one more sunrise. And that's when he found peace. Because love, real love, isn't measured in years or memories or perfection. It's measured in the courage to keep showing up, even when it hurts. Now, maybe you're sitting there thinking, "That's beautiful, but how do I heal from my own heartbreak?" Let me share with you what Arthur taught me. The steps to healing, not from theory, but from living. Accept the pain. Don't run from it. Don't numb it. Don't drown it in distractions. Sit with it. Feel it. Because what you don't face, you can never free yourself from. Arthur stopped pretending everything was fine. He admitted, "It hurts. It really hurts. And that's when healing began. Let go of what you cannot change. You can't control who stays or who forgets. You can't control the past or rewrite what's been done, but you can control how you choose to respond. Arthur couldn't stop Rose's mind from slipping away, but he could choose to meet her every morning with love instead of bitterness. That choice gave him peace. Forgive. Forgive yourself for not being perfect. Forgive others for not loving you the way you wanted. Forgive life for not turning out the way you planned. Forgiveness isn't approval, it's release. It's saying, I deserve peace more than I deserve revenge. Build inner resilience. Arthur started small, gardening, journaling, talking to neighbors. He learned that healing isn't about forgetting the pain, but finding purpose through it. Resilience grows every time you choose gratitude over grief. Move forward with purpose. After Rose passed away, Arthur still made that same morning mix, coffee and honey. Every day, he said, it reminds me that love doesn't die, it transforms. And he began sharing that mix with his neighbors, friends, even strangers, spreading warmth, one cup at a time. That's what moving forward looks like. Turning your scars into service, your heartbreak into hope, your story into strength. You see, pain can break you or build you. It's not what happens to you that defines you, it's what you do with it. Arthur could have shut down, he could have closed the curtains, given up on life, but he didn't. He chose love, again and again, and so can you. You can rise again from what broke you. You can turn your pain into power. You can take all those shattered pieces and build something new, something even more beautiful. You are not too old to start again. You are not too damaged to love again. You are not too broken to heal. Repeat this with me, out loud if you can. You are stronger than your past. You are bigger than your pain. You are worthy of joy. You are still here. And that means your story isn't over. Arthur's love didn't end in loss. It evolved into legacy, and your story can too. This, right here, is where you rise. This is where the tears, the sleepless nights, the heartbreak, all of it begins to make sense. Because pain was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to awaken you, to remind you that you feel deeply because you live deeply, to show you that the same heart that was shattered still beats, still hopes, still dares to love again. So hear me when I say this. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not lost. You are learning the way. You are not alone. Every scar on your soul is proof that you've survived. Arthur's story is your reminder. Even when love fades, kindness remains. Even when memory fades, connection remains. Even when everything you knew changes, you remain. So stand tall, wipe your tears, and remember, life doesn't ask you to be perfect, it asks you to be present. Pour your own cup of coffee, add your honey, take a sip and whisper to yourself, I made it this far, and I'm not done yet. Because healing doesn't happen in one grand moment. It happens in small rituals of courage, day after day after day. My friend, if that old man can wake up every morning, look at the love of his life, and choose kindness even when life took everything familiar from him, then so can you. You can choose to rise. You can choose to love again. You can choose to live fully, not despite the pain, but through it. So here's my call to you tonight. Stand up. Take back your power. Pour your own cup of life, your coffee, your honey, whatever your mix may be, because your story isn't finished. It's just beginning, and it's going to be beautiful. This right here is where you rise. This is where the tears, the sleepless nights, the heartbreak, all of it begins to make sense. Because pain was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to awaken you. To remind you that you feel deeply because you live deeply. To show you that the same heart that was shattered still beats, still hopes, still dares to love again. So hear me when I say this. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not lost. You are learning the way. You are not alone. Every scar on your soul is proof that you've survived. Arthur's story is your reminder. Even when love fades, kindness remains. Even when memory fades, connection remains. Even when everything you knew changes, you remain. So stand tall, wipe your tears. And remember, life doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be present. Pour your own cup of coffee, add your honey, take a sip and whisper to yourself, I made it this far, and I'm not done yet. Because healing doesn't happen in one grand moment. It happens in small rituals of courage, day after day after day.